We are getting started now. It's great to see all of you virtually again to some degree. And welcome to the award ceremony for the 23rd Annual National Ocean Sciences Bowl. I'm so sorry we can't be with you in person. It's always just such a wonderful ceremony. There's so much enthusiasm. Still so much energy in the room, and everybody's getting ready to go their different ways. A lot of seniors are graduating and going on to their college careers and other things. So sorry that we're missing that in person. Certainly we hope to do that again next year. But I'm just so glad that all of you are here tonight, that all these high school students didn't have anything better to do on a Saturday night in late April than be here with us in this large Zoom room. So all of you were the top 19 teams out of more than 275 teams that competed at the regional bowls this past February. You all know that's no small feat. You know how tough the competition is regionally and certainly in finals as well. So I just want to thank each and every one of you as individuals, as teams, all the supporters that got you this far. And so just thanks for being part of the National Ocean Sciences Bowl. And, you know, as I think about this, as you might see, I'm wearing a shirt. This is a tribute to the late Dr. Ray Beiersdorfer from Youngstown State University, who started and ran the Penguin Bowl for many years. He passed very suddenly about a year and a half ago, but he was a huge supporter of the National Ocean Sciences Bowl. This is actually one of his shirts. It was a gift from his wife, Susie, and just a big part of the NOSB family, as many of you know. So I'll be trying to wear this pretty much for every one of the award ceremonies from here on out that I'm involved with. Hopefully many, many more. I certainly will be involved in National Ocean Sciences Bowl in one form or another, as long as I am able, physically and mentally, I guess. So with that, I'm just going to turn it over for some, again, some opening remarks and reflections from Dr. Monty Graham from the University of Southern Mississippi. He was at our opening ceremony, provided some remarks. And again, in addition to his great work, certainly in the academic field, he's also very much an ocean leader, and he is the chairperson of the Board of Trustees for the Consortium for Ocean Leadership. That's the organization that I run that actually puts on the National Ocean Sciences Bowl. I would also like to mention, I think somewhere out there in the Zoom audience, we have retired Rear Admiral Dick West, who had my job for many years back in the early and mid 2000s again. So a lot of great leaders in oceanography across this space. And Monty, it's a pleasure. It's an honor to have you with us again. Sorry we're not enjoying this down in the cool spring temperatures of the Gulf Coast or whatever it may be. But we look forward to getting back down there with you and the great team down there at Southern Miss in the not too distant future. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Actually, the weather today has been absolutely beautiful. It would have been just a stellar time. I think the temperature was about kind of maybe in the 80, 81 degrees at its peak today, and it was just cloudless day. So I wish we were all here sitting on a pavilion and enjoying the marshes and tidal creeks around the Gulf Coast Research Lab, and I think you all would certainly enjoy that. So I want to thank everybody on behalf of the University of Southern Mississippi and the Gulf Coast Research Lab and the School of Ocean Science and Engineering, for making this as good as it possibly could be under the circumstances. So from the University of Southern Mississippi, just want to acknowledge a few folks. Our president is Rodney Bennett, Provost Stephen Mosier, and our Vice President for Research is Gordon Cannon. They absolutely played an integral role in providing resources and assets to pull this off. It would have been much greater if we were here, if everybody was here, but again, under the circumstances. And the School of Ocean Science and Engineering and the Gulf Coast Research Lab is directed by Joe Griffith. And I especially want to thank our Marine Education Center. That's directed by Jessie Kassler and all of her great staff. But, you know, this would not have happened if it wasn't for Aaron Lamy. And if you have a chance, pin on Aaron Lamy and take a look at him. He's got his beautiful daughter with him, sitting on his lap. There. Oh, where'd she go?
He's gone, just disappeared.
She vanished. That was awesome. Beautiful. At least I hope that was your daughter. I just got to borrow another one. So. No. Great job, Aaron. Thank you very much. Again, John mentioned that we have some, that I'm the board chair for the Consortium for Ocean Leadership. And we actually have you guys that were participants in this thing, and the coaches and the teachers and the parents. What I'm going to do is ask anybody that's on the board. John mentioned Admiral West, but anybody that's on the board, if you would just send a little chat message out and just let folks know who you are and your university. But I'm just going to read through some institutions that you guys are attracting out there in the participant world. LSU, I heard they have a football team, not really sure. Stanford University, somewhere out on the West Coast. Oregon State, of course, University of Southern Mississippi, the University of New Hampshire, University of Maryland, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, Bigelow Laboratories for Ocean Science, the University of Alaska, and Texas A&M. So that's not a slouch group to be drawing yourself to if you're at all interested in the ocean sciences and getting a degree in the ocean sciences. So please, work through the Consortium for Ocean Leadership. They'll guide you. They'll help you find a path, find an institution, and find some mentors to work with. And you can do that in the summertime. You can get a degree in it. Again, congratulations to the winners, Ladue Horton Watkins High School in St. Louis, Missouri. Fantastic job. I think John would agree that that name Watkins means a lot to the Consortium for Ocean Leadership. And I hope you have a chance to learn about Admiral Watkins, who's very near and dear to our heart and really got this whole thing going. Ocean education was a primary source of his ongoing pride. But really, to everybody, thank you, the participants, the coaches, the mentors, the parents, all of you. Under these circumstances, you guys have all done a fantastic job, and you really are shaping the future of ocean science. And whether you go into ocean sciences or science at all, you heard my plea to have you go into science. We need it more than ever now. But regardless of what you do, carry this with you and use it in your own field, in your own career path, wherever you go, whatever you do. And I hope you always remember that you had an impact and you made something really kind of special happen this year. This was a very difficult time for everybody, but you stepped in and played a little bit of a role to sort of divert everybody's attention away from the craziness that's going on, and you played a role to keep us all normal. And so thank you very much for your efforts, and congratulations to everybody. So in closing, I want to give just a one final thought. So it's about 10 years down the road from Deepwater Horizon and the oil spill. And so thinking back 10 years and my own ordeal with the oil spill. I lived in Mobile, Alabama at the time. That's about, it's about 35 miles north of the Gulf of Mexico, and then another 80 miles out to the Macondo wellhead where the spill was happening. And my first real sort of personal interaction with the oil spill was right about this time. It may have been April 25th, walking out onto the front porch during one of those spring, early southerly spring showers that we tend to have here in the Gulf of Mexico. And the rain that we had smelled like diesel fuel. And it took me a while to figure out what was going on. And then as people were starting to interact and going, can you all smell that smell? It became very clear that there was a lot of oil that was coming to the surface, and it was starting to get into the atmosphere, and we were starting to interact with it, and we did continue to interact with it as scientists for quite a few months. Even though it took almost 3 months for the well to be capped, there was still oil out there for quite some time after that, and we had a lot of folks, researchers, faculty, staff, students, who were all pitching in and trying to understand what was going on. And it was an amazing time. But the oil spill for the Gulf of Mexico, that was just one of a whole series of things that we've gone through here in the Gulf, and especially in the Northern Gulf. We had, not long before that, we had Hurricane Katrina, absolutely devastated this area. Recently, last year, we had flooding. So it seems to be about every 5 or so years, we have something that really is kind of impactful, devastating to the environment, to the people, and to the economy of the Northern Gulf of Mexico. But it doesn't, the moral to this is it doesn't take long for the people to work to bring the environmental problems back in check. And to that end, we are an extremely resilient place. The Gulf of Mexico is an extremely resilient place. The ecosystem is very resilient. So there's a whole lot of reasons why that is. There are places in the Gulf of Mexico that aren't very resilient. We talked about that when I was giving some words last time, especially in the deep Gulf. But 10 years later, we're through the oil spill, and we are back and better and stronger than ever, and that puts us in a position to deal with things like what's going on right now with COVID-19. So we have a saying in the Gulf of Mexico about resiliency, and I hope you all will remember this. It's not about bouncing back; it's about bouncing forward. It's learning lessons about things that are impactful to you, taking those and moving yourself in a positive direction so that you're better off in the future. You're not just coming back to where you were before. So with that, I want to thank everybody on this Zoomcast tonight. Stay resilient. I want to give a special shout out to the class of 2020. Good job getting through. You're almost there, and I know this is not what you wanted to do for closing it. This tonight I hope you wanted to do it, but for closing out your high school career, I know this is something that you're having to deal with, but it's a special time, and do remember that you've got a lot of folks that are pulling for you. So as we close and saying thank you, I'm going to show you a little prop. And I want everybody to take a look at this. And if you know what it is, because I've showed you this before, don't shout it out. But I want to see which of the participants can tell me what it is first. It's about that big, about that thin. What color is it? Big, beautiful old rock. Sounds like a rock. It could be a skipping rock. I'm gonna give you about 10 more seconds. It's not a rock. This is oil. This is oil from Deepwater Horizon, and it washed up on an island off the coast of Alabama called Petty Boy Island. And because it could sit there and bake in the sun, it turned into a rock. And these were absolutely everywhere. But that's oil from the Macondo Deepwater Horizon oil spill. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. Again, University of Southern Mississippi was happy to play a part in this. Great job Back to you, John.
Thank you, Monty. Really, really appreciate those remarks. And yeah, I don't think anybody got that part, that it was oil. But it's, yeah, pretty sobering to think of it, think of the impacts there. So, all right, so moving forward, one thing I think you all know, that there's no way the National Ocean Sciences Bowl would be happening virtually, in person, otherwise, were it not for the sponsorship. The sponsors we have, they're incredibly generous, they're supportive, a lot of them participate very actively in regional bowls and certainly in national bowls as well. I would like to say, like I always say, actually our biggest sponsor are the volunteers. If you took, we have about as many volunteers as we do students who participate. And if you took the hourly wages and said, we're just going to make that sort of a minimum wage scale, our biggest sponsor would be the volunteers by far. So anyway, but in terms of our organizational sponsors, even some individuals, we have NOAA. We have the Gulf Research Program of the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering and Medicine. We have Wendy and Eric Schmidt, also started the Schmidt Ocean Institute and operate the RV Falcor. We have Deerbrook Charitable Trust, NASA, Scho, Lockheed Martin, and I've been seeing some social media from them that they've been advertising the virtual NOSB, by the way, very strongly. America Honda Foundation, Sharon and Wayne Sternberger, the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management under the Department of Interior, or BOEM, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory of the Department of Energy, the Marine Technology Society, the IEEE Ocean Engineering Society, and McGregor. So again, a virtual round of applause. You always have to make choices of certainly of where you shop and what you do, and just, if you like the Ocean Science Bowl and you like the ocean, it certainly influences me. I'll just leave it at that. Also want to thank the coaches. These past few months have been difficult for you all. A lot of you involved in academics and various jobs and roles that you might play in the lives and the education of students or even children to some degree. It's been challenging, but thank you. Thank you for allowing us to have a very successful National Ocean Sciences Bowl. Very, very well done. So everybody thank your coach, and I know you will do that later too. I certainly want to thank the regional coordinators. The regional coordinators across the country. We wouldn't be here doing this virtually without you. We would not be doing this any year without you, of course. And we're just so glad that you were able to hold the regional bowls in February prior to really the huge crisis of the COVID-19 coronavirus. So also, again, another shout out to Monty and especially Aaron down there at Southern Miss in the Hurricane Bowl. Again, miss being there. We'll get back there, but we couldn't have done this without your support and leadership as well. And Monty, thank you also for being an inspiration to me as we were first talking about doing this in a virtual manner. I said, Monty, I don't think we can pull this thing off. And you said, John, I know your team. I know the students. I know what they're capable of. I think that you can do it. So certainly you gave me an inspiration to keep pushing. And yeah, and we did it. So thank you for that. We also heard from a lot of mentors around the Gulf Coast region during that career event, and just thank you for being part of that. I think, we all gain wisdom from mentors. Some are older, some are younger. Everybody is a mentor to someone in some regard throughout your entire lives. So just always keep that in mind, but thank you for that. We also want to thank certainly Ellen Prager for the virtual field trip to the Galapagos. What a beautiful place on our planet, a very singular place. So going forward, we need to make sure that the ocean and places like that remain special. And certainly the 40 dedicated volunteers from across the country who were part of the rooms of the competition here. Again, and a lot of them were, some of them were COL staff. We had regional coordinators. We had people who just did great work in making this happen. You know, the scorekeepers, the moderators, the timekeepers, the science judges, the room, sort of, I guess, the room managers and all that, and the runners. Oh, wait, we didn't have runners. We had virtual runners running around crazy trying to make sure everything worked, and it worked well. Thanks to all of you. I know it was exhausting. They talk about this issue of Zoom fatigue. Certainly by the end of the Quiz Bowl competition, even by the end of the SCBs today, I know there's a lot of Zoom fatigue, and there's a lot of people going to sleep very well throughout the rest of the weekend. Maybe not all Sunday, but a lot of it. So please join me in thanking all the volunteers who worked in this virtual Ocean Science Bowl. Extremely well done. So with that, now on to the awards. As I have mentioned earlier, certainly in the opening ceremony, each and every National Ocean Sciences Bowl is to be congratulated, and really being part of this first virtual Ocean Sciences Bowl. I'm always impressed with the knowledge. I'm still impressed with it. I'm impressed with the way you guys were able to operate in the virtual environment better than I certainly could have done. We didn't have Ocean Sciences Bowl when I was going to high school back in the mid-'70s. I was part of a math team and did participate in a math competition. If you think Ocean Sciences Bowl is a little geeky, go to a math one. And some of you probably do that too. So you know what it's like. So without any further ado, I'm going to start with the award for the top science expert briefing team. All the oral testimonies were completed today. So I know that you're eagerly waiting the result. Very close as always. This is a special part of the competition because in later my Navy career, and then since I've retired from the Navy, I've had to spend a lot of time in front of Congress people and senators, and doing these type of briefings and things. And it's a little stressful. Sometimes the questions, sometimes the people involved is, they throw you for a loop. So if that happened to you, it's good practice. And this will prepare you so well for many things you might be engaged in the future as you become the key to communicating science to decision makers. Don't forget that. If we can't do that well, all the science in the world doesn't matter. So with that, and the team that received the highest score, the SCB champion is Newport High School from the Orca Bowl. Yeah, I think you'll see that's an all-girls team. So very, very proud of you. Extremely well done. This team will receive $250 in Amazon gift cards. And again, very, very well done. If you find yourself in Washington, D.C. and ever want to go meet with some Congress people or whatever, really, this goes for all of you, by the way. Don't hesitate to reach out to our consortium. Just reach out through Amanda and Melissa, and they can put you in touch with the right people. But we're always happy to sort of give you even more of an in-person experience. Very well done to our SCB champions. And I can virtually see and hear you from here. And I know you're extremely happy, and your enthusiasm is just so infectious. So thank you. Okay. Now on to the prizes for the buzzer portion of the competition. I think everybody knows what the outcomes were, but we're going to go through this, and really it's just, again, I couldn't be more proud of you. So we'll start with our 13th through 19th place team. So congratulations to you for your regional wins and for your outstanding participation here in the finals. In alphabetical order, these teams and they're also going to get, as you see, you will get a subscription to a Curiosity Stream. So without any further ado on that, first is Benson Polytechnical High School, representing the Salmon Bowl, of course. Next, we have Catholic High School. Nope, I think we went to Canyon Crest, but Catholic High School is representing the Blue Crab Bowl. And there we go. That's because it was supposed to be in alphabetical order, but I must admit, I'm not the best at alphabetizing, but I know Canyon Crest does come before Catholic, but on my reading list, it didn't. So that's my fault. So now it's off to Canyon Crest Academy from the Garibaldi Bowl. And Fort Collins High School from the Trout Bowl. Next is Gainesville 4-H. Representing the Spoonbill Bowl, west coast of the Florida Peninsula. And next we have Narragansett High School. No surprise from the Nor'easter Bowl, as everybody knows where Narragansett is. And finally, we have Westwood Marine Ocean Academy, or MOA, I believe, as they're known as. So again, a hearty round of applause. My appreciation to you all as champions and great competitors, and very, very well done. And next we will move on to our 9th through 12th place teams, again in alphabetical order. Each one of these teams is going to get ocean-related books of various types and sources. And you can see them there, and I'm not going to try to match the schools to the books. That's almost like trying to do math in public on the fly. Never a good idea. So I'll just say these are all great. I've had a chance to read most of these, look at all of them, and I know you're going to enjoy this. So first up in alphabetical order again is Mount Sinai High School. Representing the Bay Scallop Bowl up in Long Island. Next up is Punahou High School. No surprise from the Aloha Bowl. Next is Raleigh Charter High School from the Blue Heron Bowl. Finally is Troy High School from the Great Lakes Bowl. So again, round of applause to all you. Great job. You should be very proud. I know I am. All right, now, as all of the hooping and hollering is still going on in your own private little Zoom rooms there, we're going to move on to our 5th through 8th place teams. So each one of these teams will receive an Amazon gift card. I'll tell you how much as we go through. But to assist them in you and your ocean science learning and exploration. Again, you should be very proud of your accomplishments as well. So in 8th place, it's the team from the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts. And you will receive $250 in Amazon gift cards. And of course, from the Dolphin Challenge. In 7th place, Lexington High School, who will also get $250 in Amazon gift cards from the Blue Lobster Bowl. And in 6th place, not just our champion of the Science Expert Briefings, but also in 6th place, getting $300 in Amazon gift cards is Newport High School from the Orca Bowl in Washington State. And in 5th place, $350 in Amazon gift cards, the team from West Windsor, Plainsboro North, and the Shore Bowl. So now we're going to move on to our first and second place prizes. Now, normally for these prizes, we basically give experiential types of award trips. Great coastal locations, sometimes lakes, Great Lakes coastals, river coastals, sometimes some places like Monaco. You just never know what a sponsor might do in an individual year. So unfortunately, well, your virtual trips are going to be to get to talk to some really amazing people. But so you're going to get some educational, inspirational prizes as well. So, and I should say this is the first through fourth place prizes. It's the first and second place who do get the trips. But all of you, all of our top four, are going to get a chance to really have a conversation with this amazing leader and scientist, someone who I promise will inspire you. They inspire me whenever I talk with them. So fourth place team is Centerville High School in Centerville, Ohio, coming from the Penguin Bowl again. And, you know, again, started and run for many years, still has the heart and spirit of Ray Beiersdorfer there. And by the way, if you don't know, so Dr. Ray Beiersdorfer was a geologist and actually got into the Ocean Sciences Bowl due to one of his daughters. But anyway, as a geologist, he actually had his ashes were being turned into a diamond, and they've been put on display as in the periodic table they have on display in the Geology Museum at Youngstown State. Pretty neat story. So anyway, Centerville High School, you're going to get to have a one-on-one virtual interaction with Dr. Dawn Wright. She is the chief scientist at ESRI, the GIS large corporation. And if you look, every time you see a geographic map with a bubble display or drill down stories, any type of geospatial information of the COVID virus that's going on news and everywhere, probably over 95% of those maps come from ESRI. They have been basically responding with their architecture to millions of requests for data being displayed. So Dawn is an ocean scientist, but she's also a great leader, and she's doing inspirational work right now to answer the needs of the world in times of this crisis. So that's going to be a fabulous conversation. You'll enjoy that really just a whole lot. So hearty congratulations again to Centerville. So our third place team is Doherty High School in San Ramon, California, who competed at the Sea Lion Bowl. They will receive $750 in Amazon gift cards. And oh, by the way, Centerville gets $500 in Amazon gift cards. I may have missed that. I just got so excited about Dawn. So $750 Amazon gift cards, and also a copy of Ellen Prager's book, A Dangerous Earth, What We Wish We Knew About Volcanoes, Hurricanes, Climate Change, Earthquakes, and more. Maybe more having to do with the human health impacts of the environment. After reading her latest book, the team will also have a one-on-one chance to discuss the science in a Q&A session with Ellen. So again, you know Ellen, I don't need to tell you what a fantastic leader and representative of the ocean and ocean science is. So that's going to be a fabulous conversation as well. So now, almost, it's time to move on to the top two finishers. However, prior to doing that, we're going to share a quick video. On Monday, these teams we had the actual, certainly the finals round of competition, and then we had a waiting room you'll see at the end as well. It's just really neat. So we're going to share a video so you can sort of listen and watch this. I think it's worthwhile. It'll give you a good memory and an understanding, and as you all know, what was going on in multiple rooms at one time. So over to you.
Do you have any questions before we begin?
No.
Okay, I've got some questions for you.
And a bonus short answer. A highly stratified estuary exhibits what phenomenon as fresh water forces its way out to sea and dense salt water creeps in along the bottom?
Yeah, like salt wedge, right?
Okay.
Yeah, salt wedge.
Okay. My answer is salt wedge.
That is correct for 6 points.
Toss-up 2, multiple choice. What geological feature allows brine pools to form in Gulf of Mexico? W, the Yucatan Peninsula, X, the Luan Salt Layer, Y, the Orca Basin, Z, the Jefferson Salt Layer.
That was Ireland.
X.
X is correct.
Toss-up number 13, multiple choice. The multi-sensor array Hydrate Andy, or HANDY, was deployed for testing in 2010 in the Florida Keys. What is it designed to detect? W, migration of lionfish. X, turbidity and irradiance. Y, benthic respiration and current speed. Z, oxygen depletion and gas transport.
Jason B.
Z.
That is correct for 4 points and a bonus short answer. Which president signed Executive Order 13158, which paved the way for establishing a nationally coordinated system of marine protected areas?
Is that Obama or like? Wait, no, it's probably earlier.
Okay, maybe
So
go with Clinton.
sure.
Yeah,
Person.
Wait, what was 19?
yeah, I forgot which year was it?
Probably go with Clinton.
Okay, so Clinton.
My answer is Clinton.
That is correct for 6 points.
Nice.
Toss-up 9, multiple choice. What is the name of the next Hawaiian island that is currently forming off the southeast coast of the Big Island of Hawaii? W, Kauai, X, Ni'ihau, Y, Lo'ihi, Z, Molokai.
Ireland.
Y.
Y is correct.
Toss-up number 14, multiple choice. What process describes the life cycle of an ocean basin? W, the carbon cycle. X, the Wilson cycle. Y, the Krebs cycle. Z, the orbital cycle.
Eric.
X.
That is correct for 4 points.
Toss-up 17, multiple choice. Which of the following are not zooplankton? W, copepod, X, coccolithophore, Y, coral planulae, Z, krill.
Teddy.
X.
X is correct.
Which of the following is used to prevent corrosion of metal Which of the following is used to prevent corrosion of metal structures in the marine environment? W, tributyl tin. X, sacrificial anodes. Y, ultra-high molecular weight polyethylene paint. Z, copper paint.
Eric.
X.
That is correct for 4 points.
Do you have
All right. So I tell you, that was pretty amazing. And I think everybody enjoyed that. I'll tell you, one thing I'm going to really miss when we do this in person next year, hopefully, I'm going to miss the chat room. I mean, this is crazy. Listening to all this, so very entertaining, very good. We appreciate the great comments and sportsmanship. So thank you. Anyway, okay. So this picture you're seeing now, this is the waiting room. Basically, we're waiting for the TCQ scores to end. You know what that waiting is like when you're doing it in person. We all know what the waiting is like to actually figure all that out. So very, very stressful amongst the final two teams. I think you can tell by the looks on people's faces. So just a really, really neat. And I think this should this shot really should be just a great sort of an image to represent the wonderful success, thanks to a lot of you, thanks to all of you of this. So anyway, again, that this went down in all these virtual rooms, and it's on to our second place team, who is Santa Monica High School in Santa Monica, California. It almost seems like they're sort of like a New England Patriots. They're always there in the final round or so. A great team. The Los Angeles Surf Bowl. They were an opportunity to meet and chat with Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet. He's the Deputy Administrator of NOAA, a retired Rear Admiral from the U.S. Navy, a naval oceanographer like me. He also has a PhD in oceanography from the Scripps Institution, that little oceanography school also down there in SoCal. So you're going to have a great opportunity. Tim is such a wonderful leader, and he's done such important work when he's both in the Navy and now working at NOAA as well. And so you will have a wonderful time with Tim. He's a dear friend of mine, and just I think the world of him. So that's going to be great. So congratulations again to Santa Monica High School. Of course, I almost can't, think of Santa Monica High School, with just thinking of that beautiful Southern California, the beaches, the surf, and all those things out there. So very well done. Okay, so now on to a place that you don't normally equate with surf, even equate with ocean, and that is from St. Louis, Missouri. But all of you know that there's ocean in St. Louis as well, because there are really only two types of water on the planet: water that's in the ocean and water that's on its way back to the ocean. So with a little more upstream from the ocean of that water is the Ladue Horton Watkins High School from the Lake Sturgeon Bowl. And great work. I think you've read probably the description of this team. It's a relatively new team that was actually began back in 2017 by its team captain and player coach, Christopher Yee. So Chris is a senior, so he's going on from here. So best of luck to you guys going forward, but certainly just a special shout out to you, Christopher, for your great leadership and your great support of the Ocean Sciences Bowl. Like everyone who's been a part of this, we know that you're going to have a lot of success in the future, and the ocean's going to be a big part of you. So our winning team, Ladue, receives $1,500 in Amazon gift cards and a virtual meeting with her deepness, as she's referred to, Dr. Sylvia Earle. Again, world-renowned historical figure who has led sort of many of the ocean literacy, ocean knowledge, and ocean conservation efforts for decades. If you hear her talk about how many hours she has spent underwater, more than several of you, I think, have been alive. So anyway, it's you're going to have a great time with her, and all these opportunities are going to be great. Also, as long as we can make the timing work out with Ladue Horton Watkins High School, we are going to be doing an exhibition match with several of the leading ocean scientists who are board members of the Consortium for Ocean Leadership. I think especially after watching that video, maybe they're not going to be so excited about that, but I know we're going to get 4 of them together, and we're going to do a virtual round of competition. And we don't want to make this an exhibition to try to showcase all of you and this effort going forward. So more about that in coming days. Stay tuned. So we didn't have the round robins. We didn't have the person-to-person interaction, the team building amongst teams that goes on. So we didn't have a singular sportsmanship award winner. Again, this was one of our greatest prizes that each year, started by Emma Watkins in year 1. And, a nice bell, a ship's bell, is given to the award team usually that they can ring and remind them of the sportsmanship of that team. But I'll just tell you, I observed amazing sportsmanship across all of you, across all the teams. Doing this inside of your own virtual, just basically with your team, but by yourself, the sportsmanship, the great appreciation for each other. There wasn't any agony of defeat here. There was a lot of appreciation for those who were successful in the rounds of competition and moved forward. So thank you for the sportsmanship. You're a great example to all of us. If only in all types of academic and sports types of competition, we could have the type of sportsmanship that all of you show. It's a credit to you. It's a credit to your schools, your teams, your coaches, everybody that's been a part of your lives. Thank you. So everybody this year is going to get an event branded t-shirt once we get the sizes done. And so just remember to follow up with Amanda, get your team's t-shirt preferences on sizes and where to send them to. We can't email them to you, so we'll need to do that. So we'll be following up, and please wear that proudly. As you can see, it's a gorgeous shirt. I mean, just the graphics, the color, and everything else. You'll be proud to be wearing that and talk about it when people ask you about it. Just to give you an idea, I was wearing an Ocean Sciences Bowl t-shirt when I was doing the Trey Boston 10-mile run a couple of years ago, and I saw someone who was also wearing one, so I was able to go up to her and say, hey, you know, and create that bonding at about mile 6 of a 10-mile run. So just a neat thing, and you will be surprised how many people you will run into when you wear the gear. So we have postponed the Draw Your Decade event until May 13th. The team coaches got an email from Amanda about that. We had to push it off just to make sure giving everybody an opportunity to get things in. This is around the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. We're going to hear Craig McLean talk a little bit about that from hearing him again from the other evening. But I mean, really just being in so many meetings and so many conferences and high-level bureaucratic stuff, but everybody keeps saying in the UN Decade, we've got to provide an opportunity for the youth of science and ocean science to be part of this decade. If this is going to be something special, it's not going to be because of people like me and Craig McLean. It's going to be because of people like you who embrace this decade all across the globe and really make something special. So when we get to 2030, the ocean will be even a greater part of our sustainable efforts to look after our planet going forward. So with that, I think we're ready for a little bit of
something that I'm very excited about, and I'm very involved with is developing the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. So I mentioned earlier developing a circular economy, one that doesn't waste but utilizes the blue economy, the ocean-based economy. That really is the sustainable development of the ocean. So we're talking about the same thing here domestically in the United States as we are throughout all of the nations of the United Nations. So what we have proposed to do for a UN Decade of Ocean Science is to focus on at least these areas that appear before you. I've shown you how we don't really have a good map of the undersea. We need to build one. We need better ocean observations in all the major ocean basins. These would involve physical, chemical, and biological measurements, which means we need physicists, engineers, biologists, chemists. We need to be conducting an inventory of the ecosystem with far greater measurement than we can do today. We're using studies like genetics and omics in order to make those determinations. By the time you high school seniors graduate from college, this will be a regularly practiced routine measurement that will replace the way that we're measuring the biological components of the ocean today, from bacteria to whales, and even including the bacteria that's in the stomach of the whale. We can measure it all by sampling the ocean. We need better data delivery and information portals. We're going to build a global portal for oceanographic information, establishing a multi-hazard warning system. We now have tropical cyclone or hurricane warnings. We need to improve the skill in those warnings, but we also need to make sure that countries that don't have the same level of economic gain as we do have access to these very same things. And then, of course, we want to have better models of the Earth and the atmosphere, basically integrated ocean and atmospheric models. And then we also need capacity development, so countries that don't have the capability to deliver these warnings to their people or this information to their people can be provided to them. This decade will belong to you. We're creating it now. I'm part of a small team of 20 people around the globe that are planning this UN Decade. And we have an implementation plan that's being reviewed by the UN now. You're going to inherit this, and I hope some of you are taking my job and will be in a position in order to do this. Next slide, please. We're going to go a layer deeper just very quickly to show you the 6 major themes that we hope to achieve. We all want a clean ocean. We all want a healthy ocean that is resilient to the insults, whether it's an oil spill or whether it's a severe storm. In terms of a predicted ocean, this means that we humans have the ability to predict the facets of the ocean as it develops over time. Next slide, please. We're not going to make the ocean safe. It's always going to be a somewhat challenging place. You might even consider part of it a dangerous place, but we want the people to be safe in their interactions with the ocean. And we also, of course, want sustainable production from the ocean so we can feed people. And transparent and accessible means that those economies, those people, those folks that come from countries that don't have an economy like ours have the access to the information that they need in order to manage their communities and their people well. Next slide. So as we look for the future here, we have a number of activities that are targeting the young people, you folks. And our effort in youth is sustained by the National Ocean Sciences Bowl. So once again, congratulations to the organizers, the Consortium for Ocean Leadership, and the people who have been at this for so long and helping us support this. We have a number of activities for youth, and I would encourage you to get involved with them. Now, we unfortunately had to postpone, not cancel, but postpone the National Marine Educators Association meeting. But each of these other meetings we're very hopeful will continue. And I promise you, there is a youth group in the UN Decade of Ocean Science. We're labeling it the Early Career Professionals Group, but there's room for everyone, and I encourage you to get involved with this. And now on this next slide, please. You're going to come to find shortly in the course of your activity during this session of the Ocean Sciences Bowl, a challenge that relates to the UN Decade of Ocean Science and invites your imagination in to contribute ideas to the success of this endeavor, which is the Draw Your Decade activity. You'll get more details on this. I would love to participate in this. This looks like a whole lot of fun. It'll be Friday on April 24th, and I hope you're looking forward to that. Something that I'm very excited about, and
Yes, we don't want to hear it again. That's just part of going through there. So again, thanks to Craig. Thanks to the work of Noah and leading our effort with the UN Decade, and great opportunity there. Look forward to seeing the drawings of the decade, as do the people who are working on the UN Decade. So thank you all. So the 95 of you who made it through your regional competitions and participated in this, again, congratulations and well done. From a pool of roughly 1,400 or a few more students and added competed all across the U.S. On behalf of all of us, the staff, our entire consortium, every member institution, we're extremely proud of each and every one of you. We want you to be part of the ocean science community going forward, but the main thing is we want you to carry ocean science with you for the rest of your life and whatever you do. The ocean is part of you. It's in you now. And you're not going to So, doesn't matter what career field that you go into, the ocean can and will touch it, as you well know. And so just always remember your ocean science roots here. Please, please stay in touch with the National Ocean Sciences Bowl going forward. Hopefully those of you who are not seniors will be back in the competition again next year, and we'll be doing great things. I have a couple of notes for our seniors. Consider volunteering. Please volunteer. Regional, maybe eventually national, whatever. We need you to volunteer. You can always email NOSB at oceanleadership.org for assistance in finding a regional bowl that you can go to. A lot of opportunities out there. And if you ever thought, hey, I wish the moderator had done this, I wish the science judge had said that, I could do a better job than this person. Hey, well, time to show that you can. So please volunteer going forward. So the other thing I just want to recommend to our seniors is that they think about applying for the NOSB scholarship if you haven't already. The due date is May 25th, $1,000 scholarship toward your first year. And that can be emailed to Melissa Brodeur, NOSB Program Manager. Individual letters of recommendation, a part of it can also be emailed to Melissa as well. All that information is available on the NOSB website under scholarships. So with that, in exactly an hour, we're going to close this. I'm just going to say we're at a time in the history of the world that the human species has never experienced before in terms of this type of pandemic, the global pandemic, the sharing of information. We have all new appreciation for how fragile our world is, how fragile humanity is right now. But as we come out of this, one thing that I know all of you appreciate as we talk about flattening the curve and how can we impact the curve and minimize illnesses and deaths, another curve we need to flatten, and we need to change the slope on the curve and the sustainability of our ocean. You know what's happening in terms of fisheries, in terms of warming, in terms of chemical changes, in terms of really the issues of coastal systems and ecosystems, and it's just the entire ocean. We need scientists, we need engineers, we need communicators, we need lawyers, we need everyone to take a piece of the ocean, because I hope that one thing that might come out of this is we've realized sort of, again, how fragile we are at a point in time on this planet, that we can do a better job of taking care of this planet. And this planet relies on us to do it. We need to be much more of a supporter and a symbiotic relationship with our ocean. Please be part of that. You can be part of that in the UN decade. Again, it's all of you. Hopefully we've given you the opportunities to be able to do some profound things going forward, and the Ocean Sciences Bowl will help in preparing you to do that. I am optimistic. I'm optimistic because each year I get to look into your eyes, see the competition, and know the great work that you're going to do going forward and the great help you've had to get you here. So I say thank you. Very well done. You were all fantastic, and you will be so in the future. I wish you the very, very best, and I hope to see many of you again in person and maybe in virtual ways next year. One final comment. You have ideas on virtual work and type and what things we might be able to do with the Ocean Sciences Bowl to reach some of the underrepresented populations in this country, or sex, or maybe even parts of the world in terms of internationally. Now's the time to think outside of the box as well, be innovative. So if you have any ideas along what could the National Ocean Sciences Bowl do to reach more people around the world, send them to me, Amanda, and Melissa. Love to have my inbox filled with that. You can find my email address online, but we're looking for ideas because I think we've proven that in a virtual world, which will become more physical, but as Monty talked about, it's always going to be more virtual than it was before this. I think we can do great things with the ocean and great things with ocean science for the benefit of everyone. So I'd love to hear from you on that. Thank you. Have a very, very good night and a very wonderful future ahead.